Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tarkov. I'm the Ear Leg Athlete here with.
Hey, Dizzle.
We've got another great update from BSG, more community interaction, some potential new sites, and survey results. Go ahead and get right into it. So yeah, we got the Scav gameplays and game survey results. Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, well, it's kind of surprising out of nowhere, really, because not only did they give us the survey, but they also implemented the fixes from it and give us all the results all within like a couple days.
Yeah, they were on the ball about not just getting the results out, but getting it fixed too. Like the fact that they changed most of these things already is quite nice.
Yeah, by the time they give us the results, they had already implemented fixes for what everybody voted for, which is just crazy.
It's good turnaround speed. It's nice to see too that the community being. I think we said it last time with these results, but the fact that we're able to see how everybody feels towards the game and certain aspects of it. They
Yeah.
just had another in-game survey on like weather and seasonal changes and stuff like that. I know how you and I voted and a couple other people in the community voted, but overall, I haven't heard much. I am pretty
Yeah.
curious
Yeah.
about that though, because it's probably some pretty well, what's the word? Some pretty hot topics, like some pretty
Yeah. A lot of people hate like weather. A lot of people hate rain. And I know we're on like the opposite end of that spectrum where we kind of like the anything that makes it more immersive. We're kind of down
yeah.
with.
I want the fact like if they're gonna have it on the side of realism, I want the weather to vary in
Yeah,
drasticality. I want it to be a chance of when it's storming out, like heavy rain, there to be thunder and lightning, and I want that rain to be more severe. I want more extreme ends of storms, potential floods here and there, and I'd like to see when it snows, maybe more like it slows you down because you are trudging through snow. That shit is not easy to walk and
right,
run through. And like, maybe
right.
there's levels to the snow, the severity of it at least, and like how thick it's coming down. The one thing that I don't know about is just like summertime and fall. Like, what are they really going to do there? There's not a lot they can do other than things I don't see people liking.
Well, it's like summertime.
It's
They
just
can just do
beautiful
like
weather. You just have
heavy
nice weather,
storms
right?
too.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But
You
you can
do
also
get some pretty
yeah,
substantial rain.
yeah. You can do some pretty serious storms, but you know, mostly just you
Nice
know
weather. That
fully grown bushes, leaves. That's kind of like the easiest time of year to camouflage yourself. And then you got fall, you could pretty much do the opposite of that. Everything starts dying, kind of like they did last year. You got your brown grass, you got
yeah. Well, I just meant for
less
like severe
leaves.
storm stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to
but
think
there's really, I guess
like
that's
what.
like your break seasons though. You're not getting crazy storms in the summertime compared to like what you get in the spring, but you are still getting heavy rain and some pretty substantial storms. There's no doubt about it. They
Yeah,
could
yeah,
absolutely keep
yeah.
that trolling through. But
And
like,
even fall, you can still
yeah,
get some pretty
still get
decent
some pretty,
storms.
yeah. I guess storms would be like the best go to.
Yeah.
Because it's just hard to make weather interactions without doing stuff to the PMC directly. Like
Well,
summertime, you
it's
can just
like,
say like, "Oh, heat stroke," but like nobody wants that. Let's be realistic.
right.
Nobody really wants that.
But you could make it to where, like
Hydration drains faster.
clothing, yeah, and clothing does matter. You could make it to where you can, unlock summer outfits, winter outfits, and those can assist you. Like not game breaking, like don't make it where it makes it where you can't walk, 20 feet without having to get a drink. Nothing like that. But give it a little bit of some kind of effect on you, something that's noticeable, but not something that's breaking the game.
Yeah.
Kind of like Daisy,
Summertime hydration drains faster. Maybe you start moving a little slower as you get a little more sluggish. Like your stamina drain could be faster.
right.
Um, I think you should, yeah, like in wintertime, if you're moving slower and stuff because of the snow, I think it's justifiable to say, like, but then you kind of have to break into, well, every day in the summer, is it just going to be sweltering hot and this is the mechanic we have to deal with, or is it just from time to time? Do we now have to have like a thermometer so we know what the temperatures are before we go outside and raid? So it's like, it's one of those weird things that, with at least with heat, you know what I mean? It's hard to
Yeah. And that's why I
go
don't
too
think it
heavy
should
into
be.
it. Right. I don't
Yeah, I
think we
don't
should
think it
change
should be a
that side of it.
constant. Yeah, I don't think it should be like a constant thing. Maybe like, just one day out of the week or something, you might have a really hot day, and then other days, are just normal. And then you could have your extreme like rainstorms, you can have your thunderstorms, you can have even I mean, I doubt they'll ever do like tornadoes or anything like that, but you could go that far if you really wanted to. Other
Yeah,
games have done it.
yeah.
Um,
It's definitely a pretty wide amount of options you have.
but here's the thing, I kind of feel like we're in the minority when it comes to this. I feel like a
Yeah,
lot of people are voting to get rid of the rain and everything
just
that
no
has
weather
to do with weather.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most people want like 24/7 just bright, sunny, clear, you know what I mean? Like
Well, even
they
in
just
PvP, I've always loved rain. You know what I mean? It's not just
Yeah,
like
me too.
I'm an aesthetic enjoyer, which I am 100% an aesthetic enjoyer. That's one of those things I love about Tarkov. I take screenshots of every raid. Um, but it's when you're in raid and it's raining, it's so much easier to put yourself in that position too. Like the immersion is so much heavier because you now have this extreme rain in your ear. You're more on edge. You're like listening for every small, like finite detail you can find, and it implements like a difficulty spike that feels natural, and it should feel natural because weather happens in real life. These things are going to happen in real life, and I know like realism in Tarkov only want it to go so far. But at the same time, like if we're gonna have rain, we're gonna have snow, we're gonna have wind, we should have light and extreme variants of that.
Yeah.
It
Well, it's
just
like
makes sense.
rain, it changes the difficulty for everyone. Like, not just because it's raining and you can't hear somebody, well, I can't either. Like, it
Right.
puts us we're on even ground still. It's not like someone gets an advantage over someone else. Yeah, the people who play slower and move quieter, it does help them. But you know what? Like, you have that option to play that way too. When
You
it
do.
rains, adapt to that style. Like, that's all it is. People don't want to change their play style. I get it. Some people just want it to be a esports game where everything's, just you have nothing that interferes with the PvP ever,
Right.
like nothing. But it's not Tarkov's not that. Like Tarkov is
No.
not that game. And
No,
it's
it's
never
not.
going to be that game. Um you got Arena if you really want that. Go play Arena. Um Tarkov's going to have weather. It already has, always has. It used to have heavy thunderstorms. They took them out a while
Right.
back. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I guess when they were making the new weather system, they just haven't put it in yet. But I'm hoping people give it a chance. I'm hoping like it's not like 10% of the community wanted,
More
like
severe
heavier.
weather. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
yeah, and
I
like
think
90 didn't.
Yeah, I think with these surveys, I've noticed one thing is we're actually not that far into the minority. And the few people I have talked to, they've all been like, yeah, I want more severe weather because that's just a cool aspect. And while you can argue well, it fucks up my gameplay, like, no, it doesn't. I'm still going to move slow, and no matter what weather I'm in on PvP. I'm not out here rushing. I don't do that on PvP. I'm not
Right.
going to change my play style because of the weather. It just implements a harder objective for me to work around. I still play the same way. I'm still doing the same thing. And if you want to sprint and run, you're more than welcome to. I'm still going to move as quietly as I always moved. It's just now you don't hear me as well. Or in the future, potential cases, you don't hear me at all. And I don't even see you running because the rain's
Right.
so thick and it's so loud, everything. I can't hear you. So you're free to sprint more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It
So it's
affects
like
everyone the same way.
yeah, it's even keeled. If anything, it's like enjoy those visuals. They work really hard on this shit. Like take a step back from the just constant action PvP shooting and look at like the environment and how it all flows together and the world that we play in every day. It's awesome. It's really cool. And that's why I genuinely hope that I think that the community all feel the same way as like add more into that environment, go deeper into the immersion.
I hope you're right, but it just feels like the Tarkov community has always been highly
Yeah,
like
I know.
against, yeah, any kind
Yeah.
of
It's
uh
unfortunate.
yeah, we'll see.
But
We'll
with
see. I'm
PvE enjoyers
hoping
out there now, dude, I think that those guys, I think the vast majority of PvE players would rather have more severe storms, and I feel like the PvE community is quite large, especially in the late wipe area.
I don't know though. Even a few people we were playing with the other day when we mentioned it, they were all like, "Oh no,"
Yeah, get
and I'm
rid of
just
it.
like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, like and they're people who play PvE."
that's true.
But as soon as we made a case for it, they're also like, "Yeah, that's kind of cool." So it's
Yeah,
like, I think they can go either way.
yeah. Well, and I think
But
there's just not enough
the
talk about it
popular
either.
choice, well, the
No
popular choice has
storms.
always been
Yeah.
get rid of the rain, turn the rain down. I can't hear anything. That's always been, and
The amount of
whether it's just
raids at 3, 4 a.m. that I've fallen asleep to with night vision
Dude,
on in the middle of the rain, just like dozing off. Like you'll be packing mags, doing whatever, and I'm like dozing off, just like out of it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you're sitting by a
it's so
building. It's
nice.
got like a tin roof, and you're
Oh
hearing the
man, it's
rain
the
hit that
best.
roof. Dude, it's awesome.
Yeah, or you're just
And
like
it's
waiting
like
on
I
PMCs to
just
come through or whatever you're doing. You're trying to turn tasks
yeah, and
or
if I can
finish
get
up tasks, and oh man,
a heavier version of that, with some lightning and thunder, it's like, yes, I will take
yeah,
that. Give me that.
absolutely.
Imagine
Like
out in the woods hunting cultists. You can't find them. You're not seeing them anywhere. You get this big lightning flash, and all of a sudden you
there
just
they
see
are.
eyes. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that
yeah,
would be awesome.
it would be
So I don't
intense.
know. I hope people give it a chance at least. But one thing I do love that shows Battle State have already been interested in doing that because that was one of the first questions we got. So they've definitely
Well, that
already been
was for
working on
the
that. I'm sure.
yeah, yeah, I guarantee it. Let's get back on track though, because we could talk weather all day. I love the
Yeah,
weather,
yeah,
the
yeah,
environment. We
yeah.
can do
We
that.
could.
So question one for the Scav gameplay is: should players still have a choice to select raid time and location when playing as a Scav? Unfortunately, yes is the answer there. Uh,
Right.
it makes Scav gameplay more convenient. Its conveniency has always been Tarkov's go-to. Me and 30% of other players voted no. Playing as a Scav needs to be a random gameplay element, which it should. I shouldn't
Yep.
know
I
what
was with
John off
that.
the street's doing and why he's there. I shouldn't know that going into it. I should just be loaded into a raid and I find out when I'm in. Like, oh, woke up, I'm on custom. Let's go. The fact that I can just go farm maps and earn so much and just like
Yeah.
hunt players and like, dude, if you go on streets and you just run around looking for scavs and friendly scavs, you guys are, and then go towards some gunshots. You're not only going to run into AI scavs, but you're going to have your friendly scavs and yourself there. It's so easy to get mobs together and just go hunt players down. It feels a little overpowered for a scav.
And this is also the reason
Scavs travel in gangs.
you cannot get into streets or lighthouse at the beginning of a wipe is
Yeah,
because
those timers
everybody
take forever.
is yeah, well, everyone's just loading into those maps only. It's like this would have at least made it where if you're playing random maps, you're getting in fast. It's like, yeah, you might have to get to a map you don't want to go to, but you're getting probably 2 to 3 times the amount of raids because you're not sitting in queue as long. I,
Right.
I hope that they bring this up again or they still test it out, even though it seems like 65% of the community doesn't want it.
That's crazy
Um,
to me that it was that high too. Don't you think that's a little high? You would think
Not
more people
really.
would.
I've come to expect this of people. All they care about is getting in and getting their loot, dude. They want their maps, so they want their loot. They don't care about any of the negative side effects of it for anyone
Well,
else.
and that's
That's just the
fair
way it is.
to a degree, especially when you consider that there are players out there who grind out that max scav rep and just scav as often as possible. There are people that like to scav. Like there's nothing wrong
Yep.
with that either. I'm a scav enjoyer. I play scav a lot, especially on PvP. I do not play scav at all on PvE. But yeah, it just kind of threw me off. I expected it to be a little.
Well,
I figured most people wanted this feature. I figured most people like selecting their maps, but I didn't think it would be quite so skewed to one direction.
I feel like they could counter it to make both people happy. Once you get to a certain level on Scav, like
You can pick your map.
certain like Scav Karma, yeah, then you gain the ability to pick your map. You gain the ability to choose the location time. It's like all that stuff should unlock as you progress,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
that
agree.
would satisfy everyone. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
think
Like
so. A scav
hardcore
progression
scabbers,
system would work really well.
right? Hardcore scabbers get their choose any map, but they have to work for it a little bit, and then it still cleans up the servers. It still makes it where if you need to go to streets for a reason at the beginning of wipe, you're not sitting in a 30-minute queue.
Yeah, I think that would solve a lot of the problems. That would be really good. Question two was, what is your main objective when playing as a scav? Resounding amount of 82% of players think that I look for gear and task slash hideout items. That's what I use it
Yep.
for. I go in
Yep.
specifically
Same.
trying to get my stuff done without the worry of losing my character. 6% are out there looking for PvP fights. 4.3 are I aim to increase fence standing. That's just a byproduct of taking the scav raid in general. I look for PvP fights on 2%. That's good. I look for PvP fights. Shouldn't that just be 8%?
Wait a minute. What?
I learned the locations. I learned in-game mechanics.
I don't play as a scab was two. I look for
Oh yeah,
PvP fights
yeah,
was 6.6%. Yeah, I
yeah.
aim to increase fence 4.3. I don't play as a scab 2.6. I learned the locations 2%. I learned the game mechanics 1.7%.
I mean,
Which
yeah, that one's fairly obvious.
yeah, to be fair, there's some of those things like the fence standing. It's like, yeah, I have certain times where I'm trying to increase fence standing also, but majority of the time I'm looking for task items. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, fence standing is just running your scavs and taking card extracts anyway. So like, sure, I can see
Yeah,
people
that's what I'm
saying like,
saying. Like,
I'm in there to do that, but like,
I
you're
feel
gonna
like that
gain
should have
that no
just
matter what. Yeah,
that should have been included with looking for gear, task, hideout items. That's
yeah.
kind of task oriented.
I forgot they split these up into two brackets for like PvE, PvP and stuff
Yeah,
too. Um, yeah, that I think that one's fairly obvious. I think everybody just goes in for hideout stuff, task items. What is your approximate PMC to scav ratio? 43% say I mostly play as PMC. 40% say I play both scav and PMC. 9.2 say I play only as PMC. 6.4 as only a scav, or mostly a scav, and then 0.4 as only a scav. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I play both scav and PMC. Stuff seems like it would be high enough up there. I think that's a pretty obvious one. Like, most people are doing both, especially early to mid wipe. You're still running your scav. Late
right.
wipe, you're on
Yep.
PMC. I was kind of surprised to see that. Well, I guess mostly PMC is still fair too, just because of your timers and stuff, your
Yeah, at the end
cooldowns.
of a wipe, on PvP, I feel like I always have similar amounts of raids between the two. One
Yeah,
might be a little higher than the other, but they're still pretty similar.
yeah. PMC will usually start to be the main that I play almost always. I still always will go on a scav raid here and there, but like PMC raids, especially around like 30 to 40 range, it's just like there's too many things I need to get done to progress to avoid it. If I have something like the task where you got to find like rechargeable batteries, things like that, then yeah, I'm back on my scav for a day or two getting that stuff done. But usually
Right.
I main PMC once I get to a certain point. I wish that would have been one of the questions they asked, was like, what level thresholds do you switch from scav? But I guess, they can only get so in depth with it for certain things for so long.
Right.
So yeah, that was the scav gameplay survey that they posted, and then they did an update that same day they posted this, and fixed a bunch of
Yeah,
the
they
AI
can.
scav behavior, changed all kinds of stuff. So now there's like, if you're a scav or you're PMCing, if you're by yourself, it's not enough to trigger like a bunch of scavs spawning. You can still get some pretty decent amount of scavs to spawn for sure, um, but you're not going to get overrun and overwhelmed like a lot of the time that you would. They changed just like the way they spawn in and the way they act and react, and they just did a major, not just scavs but AI logic and behavior overall. They made some pretty major changes on. It was a really good update. We talked
Yeah.
about it.
On
Yeah.
this right here, on the survey, they end up posting the conclusion, which said they'll further analyze in-game data and collect player feedback to improve the game balancing. Based on this survey, they adjusted player scav spawn times. Now scavs will spawn no earlier than 17 minutes after the start of the raid on most locations, excluding factory and reserve and low-level ground zero. The starter equipment system has also been improved. Now, higher fence standing has a larger impact on quality of gear. The information gathered will be used to further improve scav gameplay. They'll continue to share the results of feedback surveys and take your input into account when working on future updates. Thanks for helping and making the game better.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And that's another thing about it too, is you got to love the transparency that we're getting and the amount of
Yeah.
feedback and just updates and information that's coming through. These podcasts have turned into like a weekly update, and it's funny, like we're still talking about everything, we're still going over everything, but it's like they're just doing so much. It's really
Yeah.
awesome to have something each week. Like, there's things we have planned that we want to do, that we want to record for, but these updates come out and it's like, that's pretty big. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
It's hard to ignore this. It's hard to ignore that.
For a
Speaking of
couple
the
weeks now, we've had to push stuff back just to get the news out because
Yeah,
it's starting to become the norm.
it is. So yeah, the next thing that they did was posted the Tarkov.Community webpage. This one is really awesome. It's getting really good feedback. I'm seeing a lot of great suggestions and ideas, and surprisingly, it's working better than I almost expected. I had like this fear of like a Reddit incident in my mind again, just like,
Yeah.
oh no, it's gonna be a bunch of trolls, a bunch of bullshit, because it is open to anyone that plays, right?
Well, I'm glad they
Anyone
went
with
through
an
Discord.
account. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad they went through the official Discord, and it's like, because
Yeah,
that
now
kinda
a lot of the
weeds
trolls and people
out.
that got banned
Yeah, that
already, yeah.
weeds out a lot of the, people who you just don't want commenting. You get rid of the people that, you do see on Twitter that don't play the game and, just say anything and everything bad about the game they can and just disagree with
Right.
everything. So I feel like this gives you a more, a real
Another direct line to the players.
yeah, this gives you a real community type place where you have actual players, actual people who are worried about the game or people who love the game. You get real voices from those people now with this compared to other stuff they've done. This is
Yeah.
a good place. A lot
So
of good
there
ideas too.
yeah, so you can filter by by votes, by plan. I mean, there are a massive list. They have a bunch of different options for when you do start to make a post. We'll say, and then like, so we type in raid, it'll pop up EFT, PVE, PvP suggestion. Like if I just were to put in something about a raid or like something they could fix. If you say like, I think you should fix this, it'll automatically tag anything you post, so you don't have to go through and find the right ones, which is kind of nice, actually very nice. Um,
Yeah.
and then it does seem already that things that get overvoted are to the top, but I imagine once they do stuff like this one here with 137 votes, add a downvote option to Tarkov community, that's started. Um, I imagine once it's done or been talked about enough or fixed or whatever it is, they'll remove it, make way for new stuff, because you do have to kind of scroll pretty far. But then I started to notice that there are some things like I think they might. I'm not sure how they go about it, but it's worth scrolling more than just those top 5 posts, because there's a lot that have high votes that are further down. It might just be
Yeah.
based on how you look. You can probably filter it by or sort by trending, most wanted. Let's see.
I seen it yesterday. If you go to declined has stuff that they didn't accept, but I also seen things that were fixed in
Where do
declined.
you see
Um,
declined?
it's in
There it
the,
is. Okay,
filter, but actually there's nothing fixed now. But yeah, they got open, plan, started, completed, all completed. Yeah,
completed. Yeah,
once something okay,
those
it's
look
got
good.
some declined in it too. Um, but yeah,
It'll
once
turn your
something
decline off filter.
oh, that's what it was, yeah. Once someone, I guess, no matter how many upvotes it gets, once it's addressed, I think it gets moved to completed. I assume.
But yeah, and then you can sort by trending, most wanted, most discussed, and recent. So I guess if you want to see anything new, you can just kind of go down here. I did add one just to see. I'm not seeing it. I think that they have to be approved first, and there's like a process for it. Maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah, there is a process. Like,
But I had just said to about we'd talked about it before. Probably not going to be on here. I would imagine. I had just said to make a rotating boss spawn, like 100% boss spawn, map by map. But
oh
yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
just nothing. I didn't haven't done anything crazy on here yet, like any major suggestions. But that one, I just want to see like what the process was. Sorry, I think I am getting sick. I think my wife just had the flu and bronchitis, so we're all waiting on that to finish up. But yeah, anyways, Tarkov.Community seems really good. A
right
lot
here.
of
I found it. Make a daily or weekly 100% boss spawn rotation. Is that you?
yeah.
It's got 4 upvotes.
Oh,
Now
nice,
5.
nice. Especially in like late wipe situations where we're just waiting on stuff to do.
Yeah.
I'm on over on PVE and I'm working on Relentless and Escort, and I've got to go in and get each boss, at least the main ones, without dying. But the amount of times that I've had to run into reserve, factory, interchange, just like back to back to back to back to back raids, trying just to get them to spawn, is absurd. It's kind of crazy. Now the escort mission isn't too bad because it's just 4 PMCs, and you kind of do it enough as you're working on Relentless. But I don't know. It's just like if the boss spawn was higher, or if there was 100% chance for Killa or Bluehar or whoever to be spawned on that map, and it rotated each day, like it would just alleviate a lot of that like boredom and lack of things to do. And I kind of understand like why they don't to a degree. Maybe even make it like a 50% chance. I don't know. Like there's an option there somewhere. I think just because it's I could imagine you don't want 100% and everybody just be able to run through all the achievements, everything is possible. I guess you got to keep that difficulty of getting certain things done, but there's also a point of like it gets frustrating, especially on PvP when you do get to that end game and you do need hunt bosses and there's not a lot you can do other than just rinse and repeat the raid later and later and over and over and over.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Having
all for making it rotate.
just the later into the wipe it gets, the more it like the boss spawn rate should increase even.
Yeah, I mean, they already do that, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, as we go, it increases, but it's like have the rotating boss spawn 100%, so that way there's always one boss every day or every week, 100%. But then also have your normal every other map have the normal spawn rate for their boss, and have that increase. What's funny as I'm reading some of these, there's a lot of people that are like, turn down boss spawns on PvE. I can't play without
What?
running into the boy. Yeah, there's so many people complaining
Dude,
about
I will
boss
take
spawns
all the
being too
goon
much.
spawns, all the partisan spawns.
Yeah,
I know a lot
I
of
don't get
people
it
don't
how.
like what's going on with that right now, but fucking send them my way, dude.
Yeah, I just don't get
Every
it how
raid.
people run into them nonstop. It's like,
I wish I could.
and I get it, but newer players, instead of wanting the spawns turned down, you gotta learn how to fight them. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
be a
throw
dick,
that shit in
but
your
it's
face.
just true. Yeah, that's just like it's a good
Well,
thing. Like
here's the
running
thing.
into them is good for you.
Yeah, the goons and partisan are the only two bosses that you're gonna most of the time you don't even catch them that you're gonna get caught up by or you are going to run into out in the open just roaming around. Especially in PvE, the AI PMC fights aren't that hard. Let's be honest. Sure, every now and then you get a cracked one that'll just fucking laser you down, but those two bosses are the only ones that you're actually gonna have to like really sweat it out for when you get further down the game. All the other bosses sit in one spot, kind of hang out. You know the area they are in. You know their line of sights. You know where they can reach you at. They know where they're gonna start shooting from. There's a lot of little things that you'll pick up as you do that. But with the goons and partisan, they'll shoot you from anywhere. They'll be on top of you at any time. Like in the fact that you would rather not see them instead of just fix that is, or instead of fix it, instead of learn it and understand it and start to figure out how to fight them is
Right.
backwards. Like that's the thought process you need to have is I need to figure out this fight because this is a roadblock for me. I'm tired of dying to these guys. I don't want to see them anymore. No, you just want to be able to kill them every time. Because
And I
there
get it.
are situations where you end up stuck and you're in the open
Yeah.
and you're in a
Yeah.
bad spot. And that's unfortunate. But there also teaches you how to move around the map based off the chance of running into them. I take that into
Well,
consideration on every map I go into. Like, could I run into these guys here? Yeah, all right. Well, I'm pathing this way.
yeah, when you select that map, you have to take that into consideration that that's part of that map is that
Yeah.
chance of running into them anywhere. They can surprise you. Like that's the difference. You can't avoid them because they'll find you. But it's like I get it. People who haven't been playing a long time, they're doing their raid, trying to, get through. They probably got a quest done or something. And then they run into, you know, Knight and he just one taps them from 200 meters away and they don't see anybody. Yeah, that sucks. But you know what? That also is something you have to take into consideration. Do you have a line of sight where they could just take you out at any time? Like you have to play the whole raid that way. And the sooner you realize that, the easier it'll become to fight them. Because I don't fear them at all now. You know what I mean?
No,
Like I really
I
don't.
actively want that fight every time.
Yeah, yeah. I'll
Yeah.
take it. And it's like eventually you'll get that way.
Yeah.
And it's better for the game, better for the community, for them to be spawning more often than them not spawning just because now you're having trouble with them.
Well, here's the
And
thing.
it's not a knock on players. It's
No.
something that you will learn. You just have to force yourself to understand. Like there's ways to beat them. Just figure them out.
Well, there's levels to it. Like anything in Tarkov, the learning curve is steep, not just for
It is.
learning how to run the raid, but learning everything about the raids. And the bosses are a major part of the Tarkov game, and just the idea of getting rid of a boss spawn because it's too hard is like anti-Tarkov to the biggest degree,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah, Tarkov's hard, motherfuckers, stand up, keep shooting. It
Well, and
sucks. You
sometimes you're
died.
just gonna
Reset.
lose.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just gonna lose. Like there's
Yeah.
no getting around that. That's Tarkov. Like as many hours as I have, I'm still gonna lose gunfights. I'm still gonna get surprised at times by bosses. Like I'm still gonna die to just instant head taps. Like it happens.
Random
That's
grenades,
what
crazy stuff
keeps you on your
happening. Yeah.
toes. That's part of the adrenaline. You know, like if everything's predictable, then
What's the
what's the
point?
point?
Go play
Yeah,
all Call of Duty, you know?
yeah,
I think, and I've a lot of the scrolling I've done on here because I have looked at this a lot this morning and yesterday. Um, it's like there is a lot of stuff that does need fixed. There are a lot of small issues, but I see a lot of people that just post constant like, I need more hand holding. I need more hand holding. I need more hand holding. And I know we're always on the opposite side of that. We're always like, no, it needs to be more extreme. It needs to be more hard. And it does. It should be more difficult. Tarkov came out as a difficult game. It was promoted as a difficult game. It's still promoted as one of the most difficult games. And I think they should just keep leaning into that further and further. I'm also one of those people that thinks that like while you should get some basic information, amount of kills you had, things like that, and who killed you, but when you die, like you died, sure you should still be able to see who hacked on you and stuff, but like I feel like we get too much information as it is, and I understand that like that's how we find bugs and stuff, so there's no good side to it, but I think things being harsher in Tarkov is the way to go every time, so that's just my mindset on it, and I know most people don't think that way, but I do just think that there's too much of the hey, let's somebody help me with this, I need to know who, like somebody fix this for me because it's too hard for me to do type situation. Like we need
right,
less hand
right.
holding. It's not meant to be easy. Nothing is meant to be easy in Tarkov.
Well, and if you come from another game, you're expecting that because majority of other games, like even other uh extraction shooters, like ones that try to compete with Tarkov, that's one thing that's always different is you get a lot more information, you get a lot more equipment like to help you, like you get a map, you get like quest markers, you get uh you know if you're playing with someone you can see where they're at all the time. Like there's a lot of stuff that other games just give you and you're used to that, and
Yeah.
Tarkov just it doesn't. And it causes newer players to be like, well, this shouldn't be this way, you know what I mean? They're so used to the opposite way, is they don't think Tarkov is fun. It's like, oh well, you're just making it hard for no reason. Eventually I believe most people will come to appreciate it, and it might take some time, but you're conditioned to, have it the easy way. Just give it some time. Even if you're one of the people who you hate all that stuff,
It's
just
so
give
much
it
more
some time.
rewarding.
I think you'll come to like it. Yeah, because I've seen so many people who were one way and now they're, cool with all of it. It's
Yeah.
it's it's just natural because like I said, every other game you played your whole life probably was giving you everything and showing you where everything was at, and that's what you think a game should be. But Tarkov works fine without all that. You just have to put a little more effort into it. And I
Yeah.
get it. Some people don't want to search on their phone or on their PC to find where an extract is or to find where a quest is. I get it. That stuff is in my eyes, I feel like they do need to put hints in game as to where things are. You should be able to find everything in game. Like if there's a quest somewhere, you should have enough information where you don't have to look that up. I don't like that part of it. But I think they might add a lot of that with 1.0 because they're,
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
it's supposed to be, basically quests are supposed to get reworked.
Right.
So I'm assuming that might be part of it. You know what I mean? Like everyone's already going to know most of it now, anyways, because we've all been playing it for so long.
Yeah.
But I do feel for new players that don't want to do the task of, outside of the game, looking everything up all the time. So that's the one thing I could agree with, that they could actually, give us a little more, uh, not make it easy, not make it, obvious, but just give us, we still have to search for it, but let
Tell us
us be
the
able to find it
room.
in game. Yeah.
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 Get us in the
Just let
room
us
at
be able to find
least.
it. Well,
Yeah.
like if there's, like, tell me where there's a note and I have to find that note, and then the note gives me actual directions on what room. Like, yeah,
Right.
make it another step, but at least have
Something.
it where there is something in raid telling me where I need to go and what I need
Right.
to do.
And for extracts, I think I don't want like yellow bright lights and all this crazy stuff popping off to tell me, hey, extracts here. But like some indication
Yeah,
should be on building sides or something like a light arrow, like something small and kind of out of the way. But like if you're looking for extract, you know what to start looking for, right? Hell, even just a red line slanted, would be enough to say, okay, I'm on the right path. Extract somewhere over this way, and then there's another red line on this next building. All right, so it's over here. Like something, but nothing
right,
intrusive, nothing that's like, oh, extract, but a
right.
means of kind of sourcing it out in raid on your own without having to be like, where's that? What do I do? Where do I go? I mean, hell, there's some extracts I have to think about for like a minute, or I'm like walking around the
Yeah.
map and I'm like, where the fuck is this place at? I don't remember how to get to the like, it's like I don't run this map enough to know exactly where this is at, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's right here. It doesn't
Yeah,
happen often, but every now and then I catch myself.
having some kind of information, even if it's still very difficult, is better than having absolutely no information.
Yeah,
Because right
agreed.
now, there's a lot of stuff that has absolutely no information. And I even wonder sometimes. I'm like, how did anyone ever even find this? Like the first person who did it, how did they even do it? Because
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
without any information. It's like they had to have hacked into the files, or they had to have got word from BSG or something. You know what I mean? Because there's some stuff that's like you would not be able to find
yeah,
that
how
on your
would you
own.
know to walk to the edge of this part of the map and just that like next to this truck is extract, how do you know to
Right,
follow
right.
this road instead of that road? How do you like,
Well, it's like especially on like items, like if there's like something you need to stash somewhere, it's like
oh yeah, bizarre.
how is a person going to figure that out? Are they just going to go walk to every single square inch of the map and try to stash it? It's like no. So somehow, some way, you know what I mean? Like there are ways to get those answers.
Yeah.
I just wish it was in game through the quest itself.
Yeah, that would be ideal. That would be ideal.
But that's not a big deal. I'm just
No.
saying that on the quality of life side, that's the one thing I
Especially
would
for
be
the
in
new
favor of.
players. Like
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
after a few raids they'll figure it out. That's why something non-intrusive would help. Like you said, a note that you can go pick up, or even just like something
yeah.
that's on a wall, or not on a wall, but like there's got to be a way, because like if it's a note then only one person gets it, right? There's
Well,
got to
they
be like
have done that in a few instances. Like they have like
make it
some
persistent.
places will well, some like extracts, it'll have like evac spray painted near it somewhere
Yeah,
and have like an
yeah.
arrow.
Well, like task
And then you
items
have
and
like
like task rooms and stuff. I was thinking like a way for them to mark something so you're on the right path for the task.
right,
But that would also
right.
become like very cluttering, I would assume. So they'd have to almost do a note, but they would have to make it so the note spawns 100% over and over and over for every player in the raid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could just be a permanent, permanent spawn uh per player, not something you can go and pick up in raid. It's just every time you spawn it spawns, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Even without all that, I would be fine if it stayed the same way, but that's one
What
thing I would be
about
okay with.
like more iconic guns? The M16, the M249, AWM. We have a lot of AK variants, but a lot of Chads, I suppose, would like to have an old good MK or M16 like the US in Iraq or Vietnam, A2 or A3
Yeah.
variants, the M249. Um, I
Yeah,
mean,
the M249 I would
that would be a
love.
good one to
Even
see,
the
and yeah,
e even the M16 would be awesome. I'd like to see the
I would love to see
Groza,
the yeah, dude, yeah, the FAMAS. I know people have been
the
talking about that a
FAMAS,
lot lately
yeah,
too.
the
I know I'm
G3,
yeah, the Keltec. I
and
still want that thing in the PLR-16 for an SMG. It's so
well,
stupid, but I love it.
like we've talked about before, I would imagine a bunch of that stuff is coming,
Right.
um, especially popular guns, like very popular guns. I imagine they will be they will be in the game eventually. Like, I have faith in that.
Yeah, for sure. Um, what do you think about like task changes for stuff that would require distance? I saw this on Reddit and it was kind of getting some traction. Dude had shot and killed Sturman with the M700 with the TAC 30 for the task, but he
Right?
was 74.9 meters away. Do you think that it should be a plus minus threshold, like plus two minus two threshold?
No,
Or do you think
absolutely
it's
not.
on the player to take in a fucking
Yeah.
rangefinder and know exactly
Yep.
what you're shooting at? That's
Yep.
it blew my mind
Absolutely.
the amount of people that were like, "Yeah, you're right. It should be this, it should be that," and I'm like, "Dude, what? Take a rangefinder in. You know what your range is. Like, it's so simple."
Yeah. Yeah. There's, I mean, there's easy way to fix that. Just
Go
make sure
past
you're
the
100
75
meters away.
meters. Yeah,
Yeah, make
at
sure you're
least
100 meters
80,
away.
85,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
minimum. Yeah,
And I
it's
mean,
not.
yeah, I get it. It can suck when you are like point, one off or like point three off. That sucks. But that happened to me. If you remember, you were with me.
I
We went
laughed
to
my ass
woods to
off.
kill Sturman. Yeah, I think I shot him like 72 meters away or something. So I had to go
Yeah,
back and do it again. But you know what I mean? Like that's the way it
that's
is. It
part
was
of it.
on me.
Should have
I
had a
didn't
rangefinder.
check. Yeah, yeah, I didn't check.
Yeah,
And I paid for it. But
yeah,
I was willing to risk that. I was willing to accept it if I didn't have, if I wasn't far enough away. I was willing to come back in and try again. Like that was on me. That was on me. That was my choice.
yeah.
BSG gave me the tools I needed to make sure, and I didn't use them.
What do you think about the this one here? Remove the run through mechanic. Make all exfils available. You can only exfil if you survived. I think that's stupid.
Wait a minute, what? You can only exfil if you survive.
Yeah, like if you have the survive status, that's the only time you're able to extract. Remove run throughs so that you can't just, oh, I forgot this, that, or the other. I got to leave.
Oh,
um
so you just
Make
you
all
can't
exfils
extract.
available. Make it to where like you are, so if you spawn it path to shoreline, you can extract it path to shoreline, right?
Right,
But you have to wait until you have the survive status to be able to do that and get
right.
rid of the run through mechanic entirely. What do you think?
Um, I'm thinking here.
I don't know if it's a good one or not. Like at first when I first read it and I figured it out what he was saying, I was like, what does he mean? And then I was like, oh, okay. I kind of like it.
I get both sides of that. Like, I kind of think it would be cool if it's like, okay, first 10 minutes of raid, no extracts. And that's pretty much what they're saying, because after 10 minutes, you have survive status. So,
Yeah.
first 10 minutes of raid, no extract. But at the same time, what happens if you go in right off spawn, you run into a 3-man, you kill that 3-man, you get a lot of good gear, you're near extract, and you can't make it the whole raid because you can't carry that much. You're low geared or low level. Like, being able to get out right then is great for you.
Yeah,
Now,
but welcome to
obviously,
Tarkov,
that
right?
example is not going to happen very often. Like that's not
A
something that
super
happens a
realistic
lot.
thing. No.
Yeah, but I'm
But
just
I
saying
mean,
that would be one.
shouldn't that be just like a welcome to Tarkov moment?
Yeah, but I feel like you shouldn't have.
Shouldn't we have more of that?
You shouldn't be punished for success. You know what I mean? The
No.
fact that you won that fight and got all that gear, I just hate when there's something that stops you from completing that. And I feel like an extract is something like if you choose to leave right now, you should be able to leave right now. I don't know. Like I said, I see both sides. I'm
Yeah.
not decided 100% on that.
I'm not either, honestly. The only thing I that thought one is welcome to Tarkov. You've been Tarkov, whatever, whatever you want to call it. Like it's difficult, it's hard, it's not meant to be easy. Like you're not supposed to be able to just like spawn in, not move from your spot at all, and then leave. But I mean, like at the same time, I kind of see like, well, you have to wait, you have to get the survive status, so you have to at least just stand around for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Well, and
know. I
majority
don't
of
think it
maps
would
you
be a
can't do that. Majority
right.
of maps you cannot extract near where you spawn. For whatever reason, I don't know why they haven't fixed
Yeah,
that on Lighthouse or on Shoreline. Um, the fact that you can spawn right over at
custom
Path,
shoreline.
and
Yeah,
yeah, you can spawn at Path and then take Path. Like it
yeah,
makes no sense.
yeah.
Um, but most maps you spawn on one side, your extracts on the opposite side. So that I'm cool with. Change that, make it where you always have to move to the extract.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
like I've never been playing Tarkov and just thought to myself, man, I wish they could get rid of run throughs. Like I've never had
Yeah,
that
that's
reason.
not.
They should stick with what it's at right now. Like I don't think
Yeah,
there's anything really wrong with the extracts or the times. Like I said, there are certain problems that I could see that kind of being a solution, but not enough to where I think they need to change it. I'm good with where it's at.
yeah, I think so too. I agree. That was just one I'd scrolled up on.
Right.
Do you think they should try to optimize the game more for 16 gigabytes of RAM, or do you think they should just suggest everybody go to 32?
Well, I mean, no. Obviously, they are going to optimize the game for as little RAM as possible. And right now, you can play 90% of the game on 16 gigs of RAM.
Yeah,
It's only
Streets,
Lighthouse and
Lighthouse.
Streets. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the only two where it's like that's going to hurt you. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously, optimization is to get the game playable on as minimum spec as you can. Like, so yes, obviously.
yeah, yeah, I agree.
What do you think about Steam? Do you think they should release it on Steam?
Um, I don't see why not. Right? Is there a major reason as to why they shouldn't?
Um, there have been. some things people have said that kind of made me second guess. I guess number one is it brings a whole new hacker community
That's kind of what
because
I was thinking. Steam's
Steam
really,
has a lot of hackers,
yeah.
and you know what I mean. Like, I mean, not saying it's worse than anything else, but you know what I mean. It just opens it up
It
to
opens the door for another level of
a whole new
hackers.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
and it's
think we should
like,
avoid that. We've had such a good run with where we're at now. I feel like it's getting better.
but at the same time, I also think eventually you have to. Eventually you have to put it on Steam. Um,
Yeah, but they could wait
and
until 1.0's out and they've got, the modding
I think they
community
will.
working on stuff and things are better. And,
Well, they
the
clearly have a
the
deal
code's
with
tightened
Epic
up.
Games. They clearly have a deal with Epic right now, and that's
Right.
why Arena is on Epic Games Store. Usually it's a 1 year deal that Epic does with publishers and developers. So I would imagine Arena is going to be
So
one
what's the
year,
benefit of going to Epic Games? Like what's
just
that getting
player
for
base.
BSG? Get more
Player
players
base,
out there?
new players. Yeah, a lot of people will not play a game just simply because they don't want to download a launcher.
So
Like,
you think they'll download? Well, you think just the Epic Games players will start downloading Arena and stuff now?
yeah, yeah. They'll see it on there and they'll be like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And if they would have seen, hey, here's Arena, but you got to go download Escape from Tarkov launcher outside of any other store they're used to using, they won't do it. But once it's on there out on the storefront they use, then they'll do it. Then they'll download the launcher and everything. It's weird,
Okay.
but I
Yeah.
just feel like
I mean that is true though. It is true.
yeah, it is. It is. And I mean, obviously, Battlestate knows that too because they are paying Epic Games. Epic Games is getting a portion of the sales now. And it's like, if you're willing to give someone a chunk of the sales, then obviously it's going to benefit you in
Yeah.
some way. So, and that's also why Epic goes out and does this. They pay companies to get exclusive rights. So they'll get a year. I'm guessing because it's usually a year. Every other game has been a year, but I'll probably get a year exclusivity deal with Arena, and then possibly when Tarkov launches, they probably will do the same thing. If I had
Okay.
to guess, and then after that, I would say they'll probably launch on Steam.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, that makes enough sense.
And it will. It'll increase the player base a lot. Like it will. It really will.
Right.
Especially
Yeah.
once it
That's
hits
the main
Steam.
goal. That is the main goal overall.
Yeah.
Player base, more numbers on on the game. All right. So yeah, Tarkov.Community, absolutely huge. I think it's going to be a really good thing for the game. I think it's a great way for them to stay organized and on track. I think it's a great way for the community to come together and just voice what we want fixed and what we want to have added.
Yeah.
I think overall that's a really good one. And like you said early on, they went through Discord for your login for it. So if you've been banned in any of their communities or anything like that, or you're associated and got banned for the cheating stuff or anything of that nature, you won't have access to it. But good riddance. Don't do that
It's
stuff.
it's
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 not on anybody
yeah.
but yourself.
But
It's
this is
smart
probably
and safe for them. Yeah.
some of the best communication that they've had with the community right here, just because you immediately cut all the noise out and you just get down to the nitty
Straight to the
gritty
players.
of
Yeah.
what your players want and what they don't want. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like most people are being serious. Like they're not just being stupid. Like, yeah, there are some stupid things, but it just gets immediately like deleted. Well, not even deleted. They don't even delete it. They
It
just
just gets not voted
put it
out
on
of
declined.
existence. Yeah.
Yeah, declined. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like most people are being like serious about what they, are writing and what they really want. And I just think it's going to bring a lot of good things. It's already been more positive than I thought it was going to be. Just the amount of people that are being like, like being like realistic about stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just I think it's a good thing. Um,
100%. I agree.
so many good ideas. Like
Already.
just
Yeah.
right here, just scanning through, this guy said PvP should be more rewarding. I agree, 100%. You
100%.
should get more XP.
Based
You
on the
should
player
get,
level.
yeah, you should get more incentive to go out and fight. Like instead of
Yeah.
just,
Do your tasks
like,
and move
oh,
on.
good job, you got to kill. Like
Right.
kills are hard. Like it's not easy to go out and just kill people. So you should
Well,
be
and to get
rewarded.
multiple kills, scavs, AI, and then go
Yeah,
and kill a handful of players and then make it out of raid or kill a 2-man and get your tasks done, it doesn't feel nearly as rewarding as it should. I
no,
wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah, it doesn't
a
need to
simple
be
process of just
right.
upping the amount of XP gained, and then
Yeah.
two, you could if I kill somebody 20 levels above me, or even just do thresholds like level 20 players and up, or up to level 20 is worth 5,000 XP per kill. Level
Right.
up to level 40 is worth 10,000, 20,000, whatever. Up to 60 is worth
Right.
20,000. And just scale it
They
that way, and then
already do that with bosses and with like guards, and they already do that with dog tags, like a lower
yeah,
level dog tags with
is
this,
worth
higher level
less,
dog
and
tags
yeah,
with yeah.
yeah.
So it's like just add that to the XP,
Scale the XP modifier for the kills as well. And
Yeah,
same for, like,
exactly.
sure, scav kills, you can kind of bundle them all up and get a bunch of them, but it should still feel more rewarding because you're still putting yourself out there to shoot those scavs. Like, you're making noise on the map and doing this, that, and the other. Um,
Yeah,
Tasks I
because
feel
right now
like are
you
rewarding
can
enough, but I think player XP, especially just for raid survival and kills and stuff,
yeah,
needs adjusted.
it's harder to go around and fight everybody. Um, right now you can make just as much XP running around being as quiet as you can, just looting everything on your way. And you can make just as much XP almost. Not, obviously if you go kill the boss and the guards and some players, yes, you're gonna get a lot more XP. But if you go kill a few scavs and you don't loot them, someone who goes and searches those bodies are getting more XP than from you killing them.
Yeah,
That's not good.
no, not really. I would say not.
But I get it. You get rewarded for risking by going in and actually
Putting your
searching.
neck out there,
Um,
yeah. But I
yeah.
still think the
But
kill
like,
XP needs balance for sure.
yeah, I think it could be increased just a little bit. Not doesn't have to be anything major, but make fighting more rewarding, especially for the people who, that's why they play Tarkov. It's like a lot of people I think get frustrated because
It feels like you don't
they
make
want
progress
to.
sometimes in certain
Yeah.
situations.
Well, it's like they wanna fight people, but it's like after you do it for so long and you're not getting anything out of it, it's like it kills the adrenaline. Like there's if you know you
Right.
can beat most people, what's the point? It's like eventually it's like fighting scavs, It
Yeah.
just there's no incentive.
Yeah, they're completely understandable. So yeah, that and again, that's just another idea and suggestion on Tarkov.Community. It's a great tool already. It's a couple days old
Yep.
and it's already proving to be very useful. Moving on to X, I'll stop calling it Twitter.
Dude, it's so hard. Well, I was just gonna say, and it's just the fact that they seem to be listening is just it's great. I'm excited for where we're headed. Like it
Yeah.
feels like this is the best we've ever had it as far as communication.
Yeah, it's huge. It's major. But yeah, over on X, we've got another NikiLeak. Uh, we'll go ahead and play through it. Yes, I have audio on this time middle. Go ahead and play through that once. Actually, we'll just talk and walk through it. If we want, we'll play it again on loop or something, so you guys can see it during the talk after this point. But so it starts off, and it looks like another variant of the MP5, or at least a Heckler and Koch build for sure.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
definitely an HK. You can
yeah,
tell by the red switch, the red bullets on the switch there.
yeah. The lower
Um,
receiver, everything's all HK made for sure, 100%.
yeah,
Um,
but it doesn't. If that's stock as far as the upper receiver and everything,
there's a
I
better
don't
look at it.
know of
Yeah.
I don't know of an MP5 that
Right.
comes like
That's a
that.
pretty long barrel on it. It's
Yeah,
much more bare bone. It reminds me of like the old grease guns. I can't remember what they were actually called, but they were used a lot in like World War II. Like the trench gun, whatever it was. But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of got like that long barrel. Like it's I don't know. It's an interesting look. I'm curious as to what it is. I
You,
haven't actually
you know
looked
what it
into
could
what it
be?
could be.
It could be what what was the MP5 based off of? The MP3? Wasn't it like the MP3 and then came the MP5, or the MP6 and then came the MP, something like that? There was an earlier version of the MP5 that was bigger, bulkier. That might be what that is. I don't know the exact name of it,
The
but
HK
there was an early.
54.
Okay.
Um, Based on a
Oh,
modified HK MP54.
it could also be a 45 version of the MP5. But yeah, we could just guess and guess. Who knows?
Yeah, so it's some variant, something Heckler and Koch, or sorry, something HK. It looks like a longer barrel, a much more broken down basic form. If it is an MP5, it's the barrel length is what's throwing me off. I don't recall MP5s running barrels that long.
Well, and the suppressor that it has sitting beside it looks like
The
a
DTK.
Yeah, that looks like either a 545 or a 762 suppressor. So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it could just be new parts for the MP5 because I do see after a quick Google search, I am seeing plenty of options for much longer barrels on the MP5. So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
they're doing a
it could
rework to
be.
the MP5 and just giving us the option to add any suppress, like with the new barrel. You could put it's got a threaded barrel, so you could probably do any muzzle device, or not any, but within the realm of 9x19 and certain calibers. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
and with
yeah, yeah.
the without a rail or anything, it looks like it's got a sling mount there potentially, or something bolted on the up right off the mount above your hand guard, and then on the front of your gas block area. Looks like potentially like sling mounts. But I would assume it's just broken down and you'll be able to build it out much better, I assume. I'm not sure.
That wire stalk is crazy though too, how it goes all the way up
Yeah,
past
it
the
slides in
actual
instead of
trigger.
folds out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, and I've never seen an MP5 like that. But maybe it does. But real quick, I just want to say something back to the Tarkov community thing. Something I just noticed when they have went over something, they are marking stuff as like planned, and almost all the gun posts that I've seen, it says planned. It says Tarkov and Arena on Steam is planned. Adding the FAMAS and the G3 is planned. So they've went through and said certain things are coming. So that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that is
Sturman's
interesting.
jacket is planned.
Yep.
So yeah, that's three things right there. Just the fact they've already confirmed it's coming to Steam. See, I didn't know that until I just looked into it. That's cool. But yeah, sorry, just seen that as I was looking at this.
But yeah, so MP5 more functionable parts, maybe new options for build patterns. I don't know, but we'll find out soon enough. This bomb device, I assume, Care Group Labs. It's got a key code on it. It's taped up. It's got some wires ran. Uh, I would just assume it's a bomb, right? Like what else? What else could this be? I mean, it's not a radio.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, so Chronicles of Rizzy might be running into a bomb, I would assume would be what's happening here. And then we'll move on to some more logic stuff, just like if this, then this, if this, then this. Here's something pretty interesting. It looks like we're getting some new optic options. I didn't see any parts on the rifle that looked brand new. Um, Other than this is definitely a white ACOG.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a new optic. It very well could be, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't recognize it off the top of my head, just like thinking back. It's definitely not the Voodoo. The
Yeah,
mount is not new.
the last two are for sure new.
Which the white, we don't have any collared scopes whatsoever other than tan. So the white ACOG and then this variable zoom scope. This one here, at first I was thinking it was like the Munstrom or something, but I don't think so. It's got
No, no, it's
a
not.
pretty distinct variable zoom
Yeah,
dial on
and
it.
just yeah, the off collar little cup it has on the back lens. That's
Yeah,
not in the game as of now.
yeah, same for the front
Um
of it.
yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely new.
I recognize those both of those from DayZ. I just can't think of the name of
I was
them.
gonna say I recognize the scopes, and I think that's what it is. I recognize them, but they're definitely not in Tarkov yet.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, they're
you've
both
got that is not a new reflex, right? I don't think that's a new reflex.
no, 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 that looks like
That might be a new muzzle brake.
yeah, it could be a new muzzle brake.
Potentially some different. I don't recognize those irons, but they could be they're not. They look rounded off the top, like they're closed in. I guess they could be. I can't really see them very well either, to be fair. So yeah, just some new scope options coming, which is pretty exciting. We got this cat. Hopefully they're working on lights
Yeah.
and shadows, or they're adding this guy. I'm fine with that.
What is that dude?
I don't
What
know.
is that?
He's a cultist, probably. I would assume it's Chronicles of Rizzy stuff. He looks like he's wearing the cultist setup. I would assume they were just like in factory or doing something. And he was just goofing off, waiting. That would be my assumption on that. Okay, and then
I
there's
feel like
these. I've been thinking about this a lot. This one's been bothering me. I think these are dead bodies at terminal. they could be task givers, or they could just be like a new enemy type, like essentially a scab, but they're like dock workers or something. I don't know. But
Yeah,
the more
yeah,
I
yeah,
see
yeah.
them, I feel like these are just going to be the dead bodies that are laying there that we can loot.
That's possible. Yeah, that's possible. Could be dead bodies. They could be where it's going to be story driven at that point. These could be just people you interact with. This could be,
That's very true. They could
uh,
be like
yeah,
dock hands and shit, just there to help us.
yeah, yeah.
That's a good point. I never thought about that. I had thought about them just being like, running around. But yeah,
Right.
there's also the new arena, or well, I keep thinking arena. There's the new leak that we got last week about the map situation, whether it's arena or not. This could have something to do with it. It kind of gives me that same vibe, like an Alcatraz type situation,
Yeah.
because it felt like it was like a prison situation setup. Like the cells. It was more than just one cell. There were a couple, but yeah. So more speculation there with that. Um, this is 100% arena.
Yeah.
Just adding more stuff. This is the pre-existing map. It looks like there just might be reworking lighting and stuff on there.
And
Maybe you're adding.
well, that car is not normally there. I don't know why
No,
that car is there.
I think they're
So
adding
I
it.
don't know.
Would be my guess. They're
But that would not be a good place to add a car. That's right through one of the lanes. I feel like this is
event
some kind
related or
of,
something.
yeah, or some kind of like clip, like of some kind of like something happening. Yeah, there's something happening here. That car is moving in through there for some reason. Um, and, I mean, you can even see it's got its brake lights on. But like, yeah, that would make no sense to put that car right there in the middle of the map. Like, I don't see what
Let's
the
see. You
purpose would
can
be.
come out this door. You can come out this side. You can come from here. That is kind of closing off that whole area, making
Actually, you know
you.
what? I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
That car is there, right?
It's been there.
Yeah.
It's a different version of that
It's
car,
got
I
a
think.
skin on it.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah,
They
okay.
changed the color or something. But
Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah,
car's always been
yeah.
there.
That car's yeah,
Because
it's
I was
there
thinking
right
about it,
now.
it's like,
Yeah,
hold on, wait, no, you go around that. Yeah.
yeah. I
Okay.
remember coming out of that door. Yeah, and that car being there. Yeah,
Then we
took
got
me a
this
minute, but
cat
yeah,
playing music. And then something here, I'm not sure, just stained glass from probably one of the locations they visited when recording to get or filming to get either Chronicles of Rizzy or uh footage or audio for locations and stuff on the end game. It could
yeah.
be anything, but
Even
that's a cool little stained glass
something
picture.
they're basing some new areas off of something they have scanned to put in game, possibly.
Yeah. Now, I'm hoping with my silly little fingers crossed, if these aren't hideout wallpapers, that these are actual Tarkov wallpapers, like for my backgrounds. I use screenshots that I take in Raid a lot, but I would absolutely use this or that. Either, well, any of these three. I like all three of them. They look really good, really clean. I have a feeling that they're going to be in Raid wallpapers, probably. Maybe not. Maybe not. But they're pretty
I
cool
think they're hideout.
nonetheless.
They're
Yeah,
hideout.
or not
That's
in
hideout
Raid. Yeah,
wallpapers.
hideout wallpapers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm 99% sure that's what they are.
yeah. Hopefully they give us like the option to use some of this stuff for like actual wallpapers. They're fucking awesome. These are like
I mean, yeah,
grapes
they
and
are
shit with
cool.
grenades in them. It's pomegranate
Yeah,
with grenade pins, and
they are
that's cool as
definitely
shit.
definitely
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. You got AK with plums and stuff. Like, how do you not love that? It's a good looking wallpapers. Okay, and then we get probably more cosmetic design stuff or just working on movement, the way things look while we're moving. It's hard to tell what they're doing here. And then we just see some more just dev stuff. Like just I'm not 100% sure what they're doing
Yeah,
on this
someone's scavenging.
yeah, one of the actually that might be audio now that I'm looking at it. They might be doing audio stuff there. They might be working on reverbs and a bunch of different things. I would imagine it's a bunch of layers. It's hard to tell. They might just be testing features, functions. Anything is possible with that one. But then we see a new animation being worked on, and it looks like it's an animation for mounted guns. I would imagine the way he grabs it, hand on top, to rack it and get it ready.
Yeah, there's definitely hmm.
He pulls it up, and then yeah, that's absolutely It's like he's doing it to a heavy machine gun though.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's got his left hand over top, and then he comes through and he racks it. He's holding the gun in place like it's stationary. Maybe it's a situation for terminal. They'll be shooting through like portholes, so the guns are stationary in the
Possibly.
portholes.
Yeah, yeah, that's possible.
But yeah, that's the NikiLeak for the week. You get a look at the MP5, strip down, some logic stuff, some new gun parts, guy dancing, a few more things that are pretty speculative. It could be a bunch of different stuff. I mean, they're working on this, that, and the other. So it's hard to tell. But yeah, that's everything going on there, I think. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode of Talking Tarkov, be sure to subscribe to our channel. It helps us out a lot and keeps you up to date with all of our content. Don't forget to like and leave a comment below with your thoughts on this episode. We'll catch you next week. See ya.